Let's talk about Jeb Bush. I'm actually scared of Jeb Bush at this point. He has shown himself to be close to as incompetent as his brother, former President George W. Bush. He's a likely Republican presidential candidate. Over the weekend, he was interviewed by Bob Schieffer on one of Bob Schieffer's last broadcasts for CBS. And he says that he learned how to protect the United States by observing his brother, George W. Bush's presidency, and that George W. Bush handled the 9/11 attacks so well. This was during the interview, as I said, with Bob Schieffer. He says he doesn't get dragged down by George W. Bush's legacy, that he's actually learned so much from George W. Bush. And when he said that, Bob Schieffer said, "Oh, I would love for you to tell me some of the specifics of stuff you've learned from George W. Bush." And here is what Jeb said, the smart one, supposedly.
My brother's not going to be a problem at all. I seek out his advice. I love him dearly. I've learned from his successes and his mistakes.
That's an interesting question. What do you think you learned from him? Successes and mistakes.
Well, the successes clearly are protecting the homeland. We were under attack, and he unified the country, and he showed dogged determination, and he kept us safe. And you can talk about a lot of stuff, but when you're President of the United States and you're confronted with that kind of event, to respond the way he did is admirable, and I've learned from that.
I am truly questioning Jeb Bush's connection to the real world. Protecting the homeland, he says he learned from George W. Bush, except for the biggest attack on domestic soil in who knows how long, which George W. Bush was warned about and ignored the warnings. George W. Bush unified the country, Jeb says. Actually, George W. Bush left the country more divided than it has been in a long time, in part as the result of going into a ludicrous war on false premises and overseeing an implosion of employment while the debt and deficit exploded. Determination, Jeb Bush learned from George W. Bush. Yeah, the determination to go into Iraq no matter what they had to do with 9/11 or weapons of mass destruction. Jeb Bush is dangerous, Lewis. If and when his campaign officially starts, it should be over as it starts, because we're talking about a truly dangerous guy. I am embarrassed that a year ago I thought Jeb Bush was sort of a reasonable, moderate, smart guy.
And I guess we can thank corporate media for some things, right? Because if not for corporate media and his appearances on it, we might still think that that he's a somewhat reasonable guy. And what he should have said was that he learned how to keep the country safe by watching his brother, by learning exactly what not to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's the mind of a sociopath, right? He believes that sending 4,000 U.S. soldiers to their deaths, leaving thousands of children without a parent, thousands of parents without kids, 320,000 vets have brain injuries. We have almost one veteran suicide per hour. Who knows how many hundreds of thousands of Iraqis dead? And Jeb Bush learned how to keep us safe from George W. Bush. Did Bush keep us safe on 9/11? Did he keep us safe from economic predators? Did he keep us safe from future terrorists by initiating these ludicrous occupations in Iraq? It's just stunning to me.
Yeah, I think that he thinks that he needs to say these things. And maybe if you are a Republican running for president, maybe you do need to say things like this. I'm not sure.